Welcome back, students. Today we would be continuing on with the question of obtaining the determinants for the given matrix. We are given A to be as 1, 3, negative 2, 4, negative 5, 6, negative 3, 5, and 2. We are expected to find its determinant. And not only that, we are to check if the determinant remains unaltered whilst expanding along the rows or expanding along the columns. Okay, so foremost, let us find the value of the determinant A. I would be expanding along the row, okay, along the row. So the determinant of A is equal to, the first element is going to be 1 there. Open the modulus sign, leave the elements in the rows and the columns, and then place those elements which are not featuring along the rows and the columns. So that's going to be negative 5, 6, 5, and 2. Remember, we always start off with a positive sign, follow it up with a negative sign, and then we end with a positive sign. Now, next element is going to be 3. Place that element 3. Leave all the elements that fall along the column of the element 3 and along its row. So that would leave us with 4, 6, negative 3, and 2. The next element is negative 2. So leave all the elements that fall along column over there and the row. So that would give us 4, negative 5, negative 3, and 5. This is expanding along the row, right? So let us now evaluate the determinant. So this would give me negative 5 multiplied with 2. You need to have a negative sign there, and then follow it up with 5 multiplied with 6. And then we got negative 3, open the parenthesis, 4 times 2, there has to be a negative sign when you're going along the left extreme. Already we got a negative 3 there, so that's going to be negative of negative 3 times 6, close the parenthesis. Now we got a positive sign there, followed up with a negative 2, that's the element there. Now 4 multiplied with 5, following it up with a negative sign, we got negative 3, that has to be multiplied with negative 5. So this can be evaluated as negative 5 times 2 would give me negative 10, followed by negative 30, negative 3 of 4 times 2 is 8, negative times negative is positive, 6 times 3 is 18, positive times negative, that's going to be negative 2, open the parenthesis, 4 times 5 is 20, negative times negative is positive, positive times negative is going to be negative, 3 times 5 is 15. So now we simplify this outcome, so that's going to be 1. You don't need to write 1, but just for the sake of fluidity and placing the value 1 there. Negative 10 added with negative 30 would give me negative 40. We got a negative sign there. Now it's going to be 3 of 8 added with 18 would give me 26. And we got 2 there with a negative sign. 20 added with negative 15 would give me 5. So this is going to be negative 40. Now 26 times 3. So that's going to be 18, 1. 3 times 2, 6, add 1 would give me 7. So that's going to be negative 78. Now we got negative sign followed by 2 times 5 is going to be 10. So this is nothing but negative 40, negative 78, negative 10. Of course, you can add it straightly like that, but I'm taking the negative sign out. So that would be negative of 40 added with 78 added with 10. That would be negative of 40 added with 10 would give me 50. Added with 78, that's going to be negative of 50 added with 78 is going to be 128. So the value of the determinant is negative 128. So now we are going to be expanding the values along the column. So we are going to be finding the determinant of A while expanding along the column. So the first element is going to be 1. It has to be preceded with a positive sign. So I place a plus there. Leave the elements in the row and the column. So we would now have negative 5, 6, 5, and 2. It's going to be expansion along the column. So that's going to be negative followed by the element 4. And then leave the elements along the rows and the column. So that's going to be 3, negative 2, 5, and 2. Following it up with a positive sign and the element negative 3. Leave all the elements that fall along the row and the column. So that will leave us with 3, negative 2, negative 5, and 6. So it's going to be expanding the determinants. Of course, I should have placed the line as a straight line there. So it cannot be a parenthesis. So that's a straight line there. So now expanding, we get negative 5 times 2, negative of 5 multiplied with 6, following it up with a 4, open the parenthesis, 3 multiplied with 2 with a negative sign, following it up with 5 multiplied with negative 2. Positive times negative would give me negative, so it's going to be 3 times 6 with a negative sign, following it up with a negative 5 and a negative 2. So evaluating this, negative 5 times 2 would give me negative 10, followed by negative 30. So it's going to be negative 4 of 3 times 2 is 6. Negative times negative is positive. 5 times 2 is 10. We got a negative 3 there. 3 times 6 is 18. Negative times negative is positive. Positive times negative would give me negative. 2 times 5 is going to be 10. So this is going to be negative 40. That's fine. Negative 4 of 6 added with 10 would give me 16. It's going to be negative 3 of 18 added with negative 10 would give me positive 8. This can be rewritten as negative 40. 16 multiplied with 4, that's going to be 64. Following it up with 8 multiplied by 3 is 24. Now clearly 60 added with 40 would give me 104. Adding 24 would give me 128. Of course the value is a negative 128. So therefore, the determinant value is still 128. So this means no matter how you expand the value of the determinant, remains the same. So this proves the result.